Catholic Church celebrates the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Blessed Virgin Mary, and Saint John the Baptist. Why does the Catholic Church only celebrate 3 birthdays, and how the dates June 24th, September 8th, and December 25th were chosen? Here's the clue.
Saint John the Baptist, the Blessed Virgin Mary, and our Lord Jesus Christ. Why does the Catholic Church only celebrate 3 birthdays, and how the dates June 24th, September 8th, and December 25th were identified and chosen? A website named Catholic Answers stated that usually the Church assigns corresponding dates for particular feasts. These are based when a saint died, a date which is meaningful in the saint's life, or some other meaningful date. According to Catholic Faith Defenders National Spiritual Director, Father Fran Villegas, it's basically because the Blessed Virgin Mary and Saint John the Baptist have unique and special roles in our salvation history. They are pivotal people and the sign of the coming of salvation. Catholic Faith Defense Philippines spiritual advisor Father Thirdy Griba added that we celebrate their birthdays for theological and practical purposes, for they are the most significant persons of the Church. The saints celebrate their birthdays in heaven for eschatological purposes. June 24th is for Saint John the Baptist. A website named Simply Catholic stated that Saint John's birth is one of the Church's oldest celebrations introduced into both the Eastern and Western liturgies to honor him. It was publicly observed in the early 4th century. The website added that June 24th was eventually chosen as Saint John's birth because the Bible tells us that Saint John was conceived 6 months before Jesus, as stated in the Gospel of Luke chapter 1 verses 26 to 37 until 56 to 57. Presumably, then, Saint John the Baptist was born about 6 months before Christ. The solemnity of Saint John's birth was officially established at the Church Council of Agde in year 506. From that time forward, Catholics have celebrated the birth of Saint John the Baptist every June 24th. September 8th is for the Blessed Virgin Mary. The University of Dayton defended that the earliest document commemorating this feast comes from the 6th century. It is generally believed that this feast was originated in Jerusalem in Israel, since there is an evidence in the 5th century of a church dedicated to Saint Anne, her mother, which is located north of the temple in the neighborhood of the Pool of Bethesda. A patriarch from Jerusalem named Sophronius affirmed in year 603 that this was the location of Mary's birth. After the Council of Ephesus, Turkey, in year 431, the cult of the Blessed Virgin Mary increased significantly. This, combined with the influence of the Apocrypha, may have been a factor in the increase of popular devotion of the people towards Mary. It is generally believed that September 8th was chosen to celebrate Mary's birth since the civil year began in Constantinople on September 1st. Scholars believed that this date was symbolically chosen because the beginning of the work of salvation should be commemorated near to the beginning of the new year. The solemnity of Mary's Immaculate Conception was later fixed on December 8th, 9 months prior. This feast day was introduced in Rome from the Eastern Church in the 7th century. The Syro-Sicilian Pope Saint Sirius I, who reigned from years 687 until 701, prescribed a litany and procession be part of the liturgical celebration of this feast day. Paschasius Radbertus wrote that Mary's nativity was being preached throughout the Universal Church, and it became a holy day of obligation for the West by year 1007. December 25th is for our Lord Jesus Christ and the legit starting date of Christmas season. Catholic faith defenders Brother Wan Chu and Sister Stella Marie Lacson made these defense arguments about our Lord's birth. Anti-Catholic cults like Iglesia ni Cristo, Seventh-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witnesses, members of Church of God International, and other 40,000 cults who opposed and do not celebrate Christmas, as they believe that December 25th is not really the birth of Jesus. Instead, they said that this month and date is invented, unbiblical, traditionally made by the pagan Catholic Church. These anti-Catholic cults keep on asking to look in the Bible for the literal word per word or word for word of the specific month and date of Jesus' birth. They fail to realize that the Bible is not a calendar that contains all the dates. Ironically, these cult members who don't celebrate Christmas are enjoying Christmas holidays and even accepting Christmas bonuses. The Gospel of Luke chapter 1 verse 9 stated that it had started with Zechariah when he entered the temple to offer incense. According to Jewish tradition, this burning incense inside the temple's inner sanctuary is traditionally done once a year, specifically every Jewish month of Tishrei 15, which is equivalent to September 25 in Gregorian calendar. In chapter 1 verses 11 and 13 of St. Luke's Gospel, it is also stated that as Zechariah was incensing the temple's inner sanctuary, an angel came to appear to his presence and brought a message that he will have a son to his wife Elizabeth, which name John, and that the same date and same month of Tishrei, which is equivalent to September 25, Elizabeth becomes pregnant. Thus, after having pregnant on September 25, we should count another 6 months ahead for another event, the Annunciation of Mary. If we continue reading until chapter 1 verse 24 to 27 and 30 until 31, we can see that when 6 months of Elizabeth's conception, the angel has been sent to a virgin named Mary, bringing her a message that she will be having a baby. Hence, if we compute the chronological event of dates, here's how the computation sounds like. Tishrei 15th or September 25th, the Annunciation of Elizabeth started to conceive baby named John, plus 6 months, which is Elizabeth's pregnancy, is equals to March 25th, the Annunciation of Mary, and the starting point of Mary's conception to our Lord Jesus Christ. So, March 25th plus 9 months of pregnancy is equals to December 25th. Therefore, December 25th is the birth date of Jesus, based on the computed scriptural events. In addition, the early church fathers never erred or never had a mistake with their idea, theory, and thoughts on our Lord's birth, where in fact, it supports the scriptural analysis as proof and not invented as what is being alleged by anti-Catholics. Most of the anti-Catholic cult's favorite allegation is that December 25th is of pagan roots and not really our Lord's birth. They base it from some limited references quoted from unreliable historical books. As a matter of fact, long before the paganic declaration for the Feast of the Unconquered Sun, or the Sol Invictus, December 25th is already a belief of the early Christians. First thing we should know, when does this paganic feast declared? Here, let's have some references. Online encyclopedia named Wikipedia stated that Sol Invictus, or the Unconquered Sun, was the official sun god of the later Roman Empire and a patron of soldiers. In year 274, the Roman emperor named Aurelian made it an official cult alongside the traditional Roman cults. See, It is clear that the pagan feast for the sun god was declared in year 274, then later called Sol Invictus. On the other hand, the belief of our Lord's birth on December 25th is much earlier than Sol Invictus. Here are the references about the early church fathers who identified December 25th as our Lord's birth. Saint Theophilus was the first to identify December 25th as the birth date of Jesus Christ. He said that we ought to celebrate the birthday of our Lord on what day soever the 25th of December shall happen. Saint Irenaeus stated in his work Adversus Hereses, he identified that the conception of Jesus as March 25th and linked it to the crucifixion at that time of the equinox, with the birth of Jesus 9 months after on December 25th at the time of the solstice. Saint Hippolytus, due to a speculation as to the time of our Lord's birth, dates back to the 3rd century. He believed that Jesus was born on December 25th. He explained in his commentary on the book of Daniel that the Lord's birth was believed to have occurred that day. For the first advent of our Lord in the flesh, when he was born in Bethlehem in Israel, was December 25th, Wednesday, while Augustus was in his 42nd year. But from Adam, 5,500 years, he suffered in the 33rd year, March 25th, Friday, the 18th year of Tiberius Caesar, while Rufus and Drubelian were consuls. The Apostolic Constitutions are a compilation of information whose material is derived from early sources differing in age and different early writers during the Apostolic Age. At his 5th book, 3rd section, and 13th chapter, it is said, Brethren, observe the festival days, and first of all, the birthday which you are to celebrate on the 25th of the 9th month, after which let the Epiphany be to you the most honored, in which the Lord made to you a display of his own Godhead. Take note, this 9th month, counting from Nisan or April, is Casliu in the Jewish calendar. If we convert the Jewish month Casliu to our Roman calendar, this 9th month answers to December. At this point, let's compare and see the contradicting year interval between our Lord's birth versus the Sol Invictus. December 25th, our Lord's birth was first used from year 70 until 250 Anno Domini by early Christians, versus December 25th, Sol Invictus, which was later declared in year 275 Anno Domini. Here, we can see from these two records that the early church fathers from 1st to 2nd centuries were the earliest groups who believed and identified that December 25th as our Lord's birth, where it is contrary to a pagan feast of Sol Invictus, which later declared in the late 2nd century or in year 275 Anno Domini. Therefore, long before the emperor's declaration of December 25th as pagan feast of Sol Invictus in 275 Anno Domini, December 25th was first identified by the early Christians as our Lord's birth. Take note, early Christians were the people who were closest from the time of the apostles. In conclusion, they must know something about Jesus and the lives of the apostles.